Hey guys, so today I'm going to be making a little tutorial on how to be a better healer in Overwatch. So, basically in Overwatch there are two kinds of healers. Well, technically three with Moira, but basically there's the strong healers, there's the weak healers, and then there's the ones in between. The one as in like Moira and kind of Brig, but mainly Moira. So basically, there's the ones that have strong heals like Ana, Mercy, Baptiste. But typically, because they have strong heals, they can only heal like one person at a time, or they don't have like as much of an area as effect. So Ana, she has strong heals. Baptiste has decently strong heals just because he can hit multiple at the same time, and it's consistent. Mercy is consistently on one person, and it's strong heals. And then for the weak heals, it's Brig, who heals like kind of small amounts depending on how aggressive you are with her. And there's Lucio, who heals weakly but can heal the entire team at the same time. So it's still like on the weak side, just as like a more of a support healer. And then there's Zenyatta, who's weak because he only heals like one person at the same time, and it's like not super strong. And there's Moira, who's in between depending on like how many people are around you, if you can hit multiple people at the same time with your healing beam. But I'll get to that to the Moira section of the video. There are timestamps to this video that should be both in the description and on like the actual like scrubber bar that you move to like go throughout the video. So if you're only interested in one person, go ahead and use that to do that. And yeah, hope you enjoy. Hope you learn something. So Ana has this rifle that shoots bullets. It can heal and do damage based on who you hit. It heals teammates and damages enemies. So when you're scoped in, it's like instant, and it's like you can see farther obviously, and it's easier to hit people that are far away. But if you're unscoped, it's a projectile. So you need to know like the projectile speed and like how fast it goes if you're gonna do that. But it's for like quicker heals instead of like long range like saving heals pretty much. So she has the rifle, but she also has the biotic grenade, which you saw me use, where basically when thrown and whoever's affected by it, you can tell by the little change in that it amplifies healing done to allies, which is super useful. It's actually like it increases it so much, and it's really good when paired with other supports as well. And it basically gets rid of all healing possible for enemies. Like whenever the purple things around them, they cannot be healed, which is super like strong, especially for like really big targets like tanks, who like really need to rely on like being a sponge and being healed by their supports. And it's also good for like if a lot of enemies are like grouped, or teammates are grouped up in like a big, obviously like chunk of people. You can hit all of them at the same time, and it does some damage, which is another little pro of it. And it's just it's really strong. It'd be cool if like you could counteract its effects by using like a friendly Ana doing it, if like an enemy Ana is like preventing you from healing. But okay, so it's really good to use both offensively and defensively, depending on like if you're near your team or not, or if your team needs it or not. But it has a lot of good use. Now for sleep dart, infinite range. I mean, it's a projectile. It can be kind of hard to like get down, but basically it makes them sleep for like a number of seconds, and it also interrupts anything that's like anything they're doing. I mean, if it hits them, obviously. So if like a Roadhog, for example, is using his ultimate, if you hit him with the ultimate, if you hit him with the sleeping dart, then it'll interrupt his ultimate and he'll just fall asleep. Obviously, if they get damaged while they're asleep, they wake up, but they still are like interrupted like that. Like if he's doing his ultimate, like use his little gun thing, and I hit him with that, then it's interrupted entirely, and it's super useful. It can also be good for like just ruining somebody's momentum and like hitting them while they're down, because while they're slept, like you have a good like a few seconds, like hit that, shoot, melee, biotic grenade, and Roadhog relies on healing himself, so Ana is really good at counteracting him. See, he only had like a second of like being able to be healed at the end of his life. So the sleep is really good for like interrupting a good push. If you like sleep somebody who's important for the push, for example, a shield tank, and her ultimate is called the Nano Boost, where it basically increases the damage of whoever's boosted and also increases their damage like resistance. It's actually like really strong damage resistance, and like it's close to none damage taken. Obviously depends on how many people are shooting at them, but that's just what it feels like whenever you're going against them. But it can be really good for obviously pushes, or for just saving somebody's life as well. Like if they're super low, I'm pretty sure it like restores a lot of their health, but I'll see that in a second. And it's really good to be used on tanks that can do high DPS. For example, Roadhog and Reinhardt. Reinhardt obviously would get up in their face and just hit multiple people at the same time. He's a really good boost. A lot of people boost him. And it's also good for DPS who can put a lot of damage like Soldier. And people like consistent damage as well. So I'll see if this restores health. So right now, they're half health. And it brings them all the way up to almost full, I think. So now they have increased damage resistance. I probably shouldn't have slept that guy. Ana is a strong support to have in your team. With her range and her utilities, the one downside is that she does not have movement abilities to escape. So she's kind of a sitting duck if she doesn't hit you with her sleep dart on the way, like while you're attacking her. Alright, Baptiste is a strong healer because he's also ammo based like Ana. So he's only limited by how much ammo he has. And he has a secondary, which is like a healing grenade. And it affects like an area, has an area of effect. It's not like a singular target like Mercy or Ana. And it's still decently strong heals. He has 10 in the secondary healing slot, and then he has 45 shots in his primary fire, which is a burst rifle, which does actually good damage if you hit your shots. See, if you hit your headshots, it's 2 if you hit all of them. Obviously, normal enemies aren't like as big and clunky as these robots, but it's still like you have a good 15 whole bursts of just like really strong damage before you run into ammo. It's really good. So he has his primary fire, his primary gun that does, you know, all of this. It's good to use the primary fire to like finish people off. Obviously, like don't just only use your secondary. It's good to like have a good mix of. He's more combat oriented than like Ana, for example, or Mercy, who shouldn't really be like shooting enemies as much as they should be as a healing. But Baptiste is more like whatever his team needs. So he has his primary gun, and then he also has this thing called the regenerative burst, where it just everybody around me gets healed, and everybody around him gets healed, and it's actually pretty strong heals, and it's fast. It's super good because it can affect like literally everybody. It has no limit to how many people it can affect. It's like the whole like aura around you. It's good for healing your entire team at the same time. It's also good for self-preservation. For example, like running away. He has this thing called Exo Boost, which is where when you crouch, you get like a mega jump, pretty much. And it's really good for like getting out of the way of enemies or getting to areas you wouldn't be able to normally. As, like a vantage point for like healing. It's always good for like to always stay moving in this game. It is a movement shooter kind of. Because I mean, a lot of people have a lot of movement abilities, but it's good to never just like stay in the same place and to become an easy target. That's his regenerative burst, his primary, and then now his immortality field. It basically does not allow allies to fall below a certain percentage of their health, so it prevents them from dying. And the mistake a lot of people use is they use it. Oh no, they're taking damage. Let me use it now. They can't die, but the issue is they're still at high health. So it basically makes them overconfident that they can't die, so they're reckless, and then they get shot more. And by the time that they're at low health and they're like able to reap the benefits of not being able to die, the immortality field, its cooldown is already over. So it's just like a lot of people don't really realize that, like how to really use it properly. The good time to use it is when they're low and they're about to die. So they are able to like actually like stay alive before dying, before somebody shoots this, because this thing doesn't have a lot of health. So this is a good time to use it. You want to use it when they're actually low and not when they're at high health, so that they get overconfident. And also, if you use it while they're too high of a health, chances are the enemies are just going to shoot them and get them super low. And by the time that they're like low, it's just going to either be destroyed or it's going to be on cooldown. Now, Baptiste Ultimate, you saw it a little bit earlier. It's called an amplification matrix, which basically it increases the amount of damage. It's this grid. It's this little grid. It increases all damage that's shot through it, and also healing. You can see if it's affected if you see the little grid by the thingy. But you can see I'm just doing way more damage than I would be. I think it's double. Yes, it doubles the effective damage and healing. So you could use this both offensively or defensively. If you're like, at a choke point and like all of your teammates are shooting through it, you can use like that. Or if you're all on the attack on like a group of enemies that are all in the same place and you're also grouped up with your teammates, you can put them in front of your whole group and it's super useful that way. And then also, if like you and an Ana or another projectile-based healer, for example, if you and I just want to shoot all your healing orbs through through the grid, that's another way to use it. Like, oh no, they're low on health, but I need to heal them quickly, and I'm not going to be able to normally. Throw this down, and it's like, see how much more quickly it does? Each singular is like double the health, so it's like really good at saving your teammates. So again, for Baptiste, you want to always be able to keep moving, healing your teammates, doing a little bit of damage to keep your ult charge up, and then using your regenerator burst. And when they're actually about to die, obviously don't do it too quick. Don't do it too soon to their death, because it might like, it has like a startup time. Like for example, if I throw it far away, now it's started. It has a whole setup time, so you need to be careful of that. That's Baptiste. All right, so this is Brig. So Brig, like Reinhardt, is a melee-based hero. She heals by actually manually and like melee-wise, I guess you could say, like hitting enemies. So basically, her playstyle requires you to be super aggressive and like encourage your team to be aggressive as well with you, and to be near you as well, because you know she doesn't have like really super long-range shields with her flail at least. But that leads me to her secondary healing, which is her armor packs. When she throws this little pack, I think it does like 75 healing. And it's like, you know, you shouldn't use that as her little main source of healing. It's not like a good habit to have. Her main source of healing is her flail, which again, if you're near your enemies in like close proximity to allies, or no, those other way around. I mean both ways, but if you're near your allies and close to enemies as well, you wanna encourage them to be with you, and the more enemies you hit at the same time, the more healing you do. So sorry, that might have sounded kind of drawn out. With Brig, you want to get close to your enemies and be super aggressive and encourage your teammates to be aggressive with good pushes or just solid defense, because you can only heal those around you and those that are close to you. I mean, it's got decent range, but you know, and her armor packs is useful for people that like you can't heal with that. Like, see, that's a good decent range. Now for offense, she has the rocket flail, which you can throw her flail far away, and it'll like smack people far. And then she has her shield bash, also her shield, which is good at blocking a little bit of damage and just for self-preservation. So shield bash is really good at interrupting. So like if an enemy is ulting, or they're like I'm like shooting like a teammate that can't protect themselves, you shield bash them, they get like stunned for a second, and now they're focusing on you. And for example, as well as for the ultimate part, if a Roadhog is ultimating, you can shield bash him and it'll interrupt it, and then it'll just, he's not ultimating anymore. So I use Reinhardt as an example because like Ana's sleep dart is really good for that, and you know, all that stuff. But that's for all of her offense and defenses. Defense-I. A good combo as well is to like whole flail. Obviously you want to hit multiple enemies. You see how I'm moving my mouse to hit multiple people? I know a good combo is flail, stun, and then boom. See? Super good. Super good. Now her ultimate is called Inspire, where I use it and all the enemies near me get more armor. Up to 100 obviously, because you know I have 300 health now. And you move faster as well. This again just enforces her aggressive playstyle and is super useful. Like you get so much more armor. It's super useful. One might say mega useful. Alright, for Lucio. So Lucio can heal and he can speed boost. So he is like kind of a weaker healer. Not really weak, but it just depends how many people are near you. Like for singular heals, he's weak, but for like whole group heals, he's strong because he can heal the entire team at the same time with his aura. So you can see how far his aura stretches. You can see it, the whole the line there. And I mean, obviously, as Lucio, you want to know where this line is. It's always a good thing to know who you're actually healing and making sure that you're close enough for like people to be in influence. So you can use your speed boost for like getting to objectives quicker, or for like escaping quicker, and also obviously you're healing for healing. So by itself it's not super strong. Like here, see, it's not preventing him from dying. Oh, it kind of is actually, but these robots aren't really like super strong. They're not as strong as like an actual like hero in the game. But you can do this thing called amp up, where it increases the effects of whatever you're doing, whether that be speed or healing. So that's good for like, again, the boost at the beginning when you're trying to get to the objective quickly. And Lucio also travels much faster whenever he's wall riding, which obviously you only want to use this when you're alone, when you're trying to get somewhere quickly to your team to help, because when you're moving faster on the walls, your teammates aren't moving faster on the walls with you. So a lot of the time you can move out of the radius, like you can move so far away that they're no longer in your radius. Sorry. So it's good to always stay with your team as Lucio, because you know you're useless if you're not going to be helping your team, and if you're not going to be close, because that's necessary. And the amp up also like gives strong healing for self-preservation as well. Self-preservation, just like Baptiste. He can literally heal himself while also escaping. Because you can still wall ride it while you're healing. You can still go pretty fast as well. It's just not gonna be as fast as your speed boosting. And it's like you can get these chains of speed boost. This isn't really a good map for it, but basically what I'm doing is I'm like jumping off the walls. And instead of just like one like long skip like that, instead of one like long like staying on it, you want to stay jumping, because you get the speed boost when you initiate the wall run. So to just jump off the walls pretty much is the best way to like really get speed. See, just saved myself. Very useful. In like corners. Look at that. Like any other class would have been dead. Obviously there's a few sections, but then that leads to his gun. His gun is a burst weapon that does decent damage. You want to like make sure to like line up your shots. Your projectiles are affected by the direction that you are moving in, which can kind of mess you up. So again, it's a strong weapon. You just have to use it properly. Obviously it's a support. He's a support, so it's not like good to rely on him for doing damage. You want to focus more on like healing your team. That leads to his boop, which you just saw me do. It can push back enemies, especially off the map. Is a super useful way to use it. So that's how most people use it. Or also just for a little bit of extra damage, or for just discombobulating your enemy. Again, it's always good to get in their face and to like mess with them, melee them, all that kind of thing, all that jazz. No pun intended, because I'm using the jazz skin, but it's good to use this offensively. Just don't be afraid to. Because, you know, sometimes you're being put in a corner by your enemies. You just gotta fight. Sometimes flight isn't an option. You gotta fight. You know what I'm saying? Anyways. And also, this boop, it's called his sound. I think it's called sound wave. It doesn't have a limit to how many enemies that it can affect, as long as they're, like, in its range. So you do that. Boom. 600 health tank off the map. It's a 5v6 with little to no effort. It's always, and a lot of Lucios just like sit by the ledges, like a little, like, which is kind of toxic, but like they just sit here, and boom, he's off the map. So that's that. You can switch between these, yada yada yada. Just make sure you're in the right one that's best for your team. And then his ultimate, Sound Barrier, it basically gives all of your teammates this massive, like, shield pool. It doesn't give them more health, it gives them shields, which is added on separately from your health pool. So basically, it's not just going to give me 200 health, for example, and like heal me. It's going to add a separate thingy. So I'm still low health, because it doesn't last forever. Once it wears off, the shield decays separately from your health. So if I have 52 health, and then I Sound Barrier, I'm going to have like 600 shield, but still 52 health underneath that shield. So once the shield wears off, I'm still going to be low. So something you can do is to heal a bunch while you're sound barriering, and to heal up their health while they have the extra shield as some fluff. So you want to use the Sound Barrier both for defense. You want to use it obviously for like defending your team against a big attack. If like a large move is coming in, or a large push from the enemy is coming in, or if you're trying to hold a point, it's good for that. But offense, if you're the one who's executing the push, then it's good to just give your whole entire team, because it affects the entire team as well. It's good to give your whole team like twice or 3 times the amount of health than they usually would have. It doesn't last a ton, but it's really good for like quick bursts of damage that would be done to you guys. And that's what scares the enemy team. So to sum up, Lucio is good when healing the entire team. He's more of a secondary healer, so he'd be like you'd match him well with another strong healer like Mercy or Ana. Baptiste, you know. So he's good for group healing instead of singular healing, and for defense and offense, and so support. You know, yeah. Alright, so Mercy, basically, she is a single target healer. These aren't even my allies. She's a single target healer. Her little beam from her staff can heal one person at a time, but it's strong heals. And you can just hold it down and keep it so they're constantly being healed. It's strong. She's one of the stronger healers of the game. But as opposed to Lucio, who can heal the whole team at the same time, so you can only heal one person. That's just a pro and con of Mercy. That's why you pair her, that's why you pair them together, so you can have strong heals, but also be like the whole team being healed at the same time. So she can do her primary healing, but she can also damage boost, where it increases the amount of damage they're doing, which is, you know, what damage boosting is called. Sorry. And which can be useful. I don't really use it that much, but obviously you want to use it for somebody who's doing a lot of damage in quick succession, or for somebody who's like nano boosted by, like by Ana, for example. And then she has this ability. Oh, she's the secondary little pistol, which is good for like some self-defense if your teammates aren't near you. I wouldn't really recommend using it too often. And then her other ability is Revive, which is just super useful. Do that, heal them, which is useful if you're like at like an objective that's far from the spawn and you want to make sure that you guys aren't like without somebody for too long. Because you know, when somebody dies, they have to wait for the respawn and then they have to walk all the way back to the objective. So it can be useful for that, and also for maintaining defense, because obviously it's harder to maintain a defense if it's 5v6 or 4v6 or 3v5 or whatever. So obviously it's a revive. Like, it's useful. It's very good. It's strong. Obviously it has a drawback of having a 30-second cooldown. So you want to use it wisely. Like, you want to use it on your supports and your tanks that are essential for this team functioning. I recommend not using it on your DPS as much unless it's like really early in the game and you need them for the defense or offense. But obviously the tanks are the ones protecting the team. The supports are the ones keeping them alive. DPS is just like kill the other team, which is bottom line, which is second in priority terms to keeping the team alive. Defense is more important than offense, I would say, because your team can't do an offense if they're dead. They can't do an offense if they don't have a defense. You know what I'm saying? Okay, now finally for her ultimate, it's called Valkyrie, where she can fly around, and her stream has an increased range. Like, look how far away I am. I'll try to get super far. You can't initiate it from this far, but you can like maintain it from that far. You see how far that was? Now, another one of her abilities is float. I can hold on the space bar, hold on the jump button, and you glide, which is useful for getting around and going far places and staying in the air away from enemy fire. And yes, you want to use that whenever you have like a flying teammate, like Farah or Echo. You can fly to them like that, and then you can just glide up there with them and keep flying back to them. Because the shift, like the fly ability, only has a 2-second cooldown, so you can keep flying up to them if need be, which is useful. So Mercy, strong individual heals, not good at healing a whole team at the same time. You want to pair her with a secondary healer, such as Briggs, Zenyatta, Lucio, or Moira. But we'll get to them in a second. So Moira is kind of in between strong heals and weak heals, because if it's just individually, like, it's alright heals, but like you can also like heal multiple people at the same time if you like aim your whole stream properly. So she has damage and healing. Her healing obviously has a limited amount of energy, as you can see by the bar, and it's charged by doing damage. So depending on the amount of enemies near you, her healing can be strong if you just consistently like heal, like charge up your healing. But like bottom line, if you have to like do a lot of healing like quickly, and you run out of energy, like so, you have to wait for it to recharge. And then see, that's all I can do. But if an enemy is nearby, I can do that and then charge it up. So it's essential for her to be attack oriented, like Brig, to heal her teammates. And then her secondary ability is her little orb, which again, just like her primary fires, you can either heal or do damage. So you throw this little orb, and it slows down when it's near enemies, and it does damage, obviously. So basically, what you want to do is it bounces, and it'll just fly away. You want to do that. You want to do something where it bounces and it stays in the same area, because if you don't, then it'll just fly away. So you want to use geometry, and you want to use like walls and ceilings to your advantage to be able to like sustain healing on them. Like, for example, I just throw it like this. It heals them, and then it's gone. See? It's not an efficient way to use her ability. And the same goes for damage. You want to use it like this, where it bounces and it stays in the same area for a while, so it can continue to do damage. Because that orb ability can affect multiple people at the same time, both for damage and for healing. So it's good to use it properly so you don't misuse and like miss out on like healing opportunities. Now her ultimate is called Coalescence, where she basically it heals and does damage. It penetrates people. Why did I say that? Say it like that. Anyways, it goes through people, so you can heal. Like if a lot of your enemies or allies are clumped up, or they're all clumped up, you can basically hit them all with it. So it heals like a pretty strong amount, and it does damage. I think it does the same amount of damage it does heals, but because it can go through enemies, you can hit them all. If they're like in Zarya's like bubble, then you can hit them all at the same time, which is just really good damage. Obviously, it's not like a DPS damage. It's not like you don't rely on it to like kill people, but like it's just good damage, and it's also good healing. It's good for saving your team from far away because it has an infinite range. And then for her dash ability, you do this, and then you basically like you cannot die while you're in that. You can't be hit by anything, and you can't be like seen. It's good for like escaping, obviously, and all that kind of shtick. But it's also good for jumping, because while you're in it and you jump super high. So again, Moira is more of a medium healing thingy. Oh, also her little healing stream, it heals her. Here, I'll get damaged a little bit. I'm at 160. I'm at 200. So she's super annoying to go against because she heals herself both by her primary fire and her orb. Her healing orb can heal herself as well as her allies, which is super annoying. Hey me, yeah, okay. So. Okay, they're attacking me. I throw this out, I'm healing myself and doing that, so it's just super strong heals on me. Whilst I'm also doing damage. I can fade around so I can get healed, and she's very good. Again, very annoying, but pretty useful if you use her properly. Zenyatta. So Zenyatta is a single target healer who can throw these harmony orbs, which do decent healing, but like not super good, but it does have like decent range, and you don't have to aim it. See, like I'm this far away, and I can throw it this far away. Yeah, it stops like, yeah, it starts there. So you can throw it pretty far. It does, again, it's not super strong, but it's more for single target. But the reason why he's not a good healer, he's as a secondary healer. Like you want to use him like you would Lucio. Like you want to use him paired with another healer that has stronger heals. But the reason he has weak heals is because he does so much damage. So he has this little orb of discord, which basically means whatever enemy has it takes way more damage, and you can also see their health on the side. Four shots to the body, and they're dead. This is like DPS stuff. Look, that's 3. That's like a headshot and maybe like a body shot. Super useful. This is the damage like without the orb of discord. But he does so much. He's super good. If you get his projectiles down, then you will be very successful. He's a glorified DPS, essentially, who can also just happens to be able to heal. So you can use your over discord on like whoever your teammates are shooting to help them out while you're also healing them at the same time. And he's just very useful. Again, his healing isn't strong, but that's just because his damage is so good. So over discord, 600 health tank, by the way. Oh, he's not full health. Whatever. Let's just kill him. Like, oh, boom, he's dead. Boom, and he's dead. Boom. One downside of Zenyatta, though, is he doesn't have any movement abilities. So you're kind of a sitting duck if you're, like, trapped with somebody. Okay, so 600 health tank. Let's do a little charge shot when you charge up a bunch of orbs. Shoot them all at the same time. Dead. 600 health. That's the most, like, health an enemy can have in this game. Okay, let's do it without the orb of discord. See, that does so much damage. It does so much damage. That's why he has such low heal. Again, it's just balanced. If a hero is bad at something, at one thing, it mostly means that they're good at another thing. A big part of Overwatch is finding what they're good at and sticking to it, and being the most efficient, good players you can. You know. So Zenyatta is a good singular healer, but it's weak. You want to pair him with another person, but he's really good. So his ultimate, called Transcendence, it basically, you do this, you move around quickly, and this whole orb, he heals everybody in it, and it's basically instant healing. If you're in that orb, if you're in his area of effect, and it's like a consistent source of damage, you will not die. But one downside of it is that it cannot prevent you from dying from like one-shot sources, such as like D.Va's self-destruct. And I'll go over I'll go over the tanks in a separate video. But basically, it's just instant healing. If all of you are grouped up, it can heal your entire team at the same time, and they're not dying. Now again, Ana's biotic grenade, if she throws that in a group of enemies, they're not getting healed by it, which is why I think her little grenade is so strong. It sucks to go against because, like, she can just cancel out his entire ultimate just with one move. So again, weak healer, strong DPS, secondary healer, secondary support. Alright, cool. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this Overwatch video. Hope you learned something. Hope you learned how to be a better support. I'm probably going to do the tanks. I'm probably not going to do the DVS because I don't like DVS. But I will if you guys really want. And yeah. I'm also going to make some content for Overwatch 2. But I hope you guys learned something. I appreciate y'all watching. And I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.